In these world, oh fuck, shit. In this world of trying times, that's what I'm trying to say. All right. Ready? In 3, 2. In this world of trying times, we all like a little consistency, and that's something you won't find here, except this week. Roll the intro.
What are you talking about?
All right, welcome back to the Floor Chapstick podcast. It is episode 35, and guess what? I'm back. You couldn't get rid of me for long.
Well, we weren't gonna bring this. Now that you bring that up, I wasn't gonna address it till next week, but now that you mention it, folks, you guys have met Dan Farina before. He's moving back to Illinois, which changes things for us here, because, well, there was a little thing that happened at first that kind of worked with Dan moving back. Dan moving back, the original plan when the podcast was started for Dan to move back was that it was going to be a 3-man show, and then I'll let you tell your part here because this is for you.
This isn't like this. Now, mind you, this won't be a permanent thing.
Right, right.
But just mainly, it was.
But I have to mention before he gets into this, what he's about to say isn't a permanent thing. But when it is over with, it will be a 3-man show.
Yes, that is true. So there's just been a few things coming up, mainly personal projects, and just wanting to kind of focus my time on things outside the podcast. And I feel that for the time being, because I know that you and Dan have good chemistry, you guys can get a two-man show going still. You can still make it work. So I will be stepping down for, it could be 1 week, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 3 weeks.
Right.
We don't really know for sure. But I will be stepping down as the primary co-host of the show just for a little bit, focus on my own work, give myself some extra time to really settle things out for stuff outside the show.
And in a way, it kind of expands the brand as well.
Yeah, exactly.
We've been talking a lot about, building from the podcast and making it a production company, a multimedia company, and that gives you that, that little part to have your little part of the company there that's still associated with us, but it's your
still
branch.
my own thing. Yeah, because I'm really gonna, because of my YouTube channel. Originally, that's where all of the subscribers came from. Before we moved it to being the podcasting, it was my own channel that I uploaded my own content. None of it's available anymore, but I want to get back into it. Mainly music related stuff. I have that concept for the goalie channel as soon as hockey starts back up. But that's some stuff that I want to just kind of iron out details and have time. So the show's still going to go on.
Right.
I'm still going to be editing. You're still going to get the same editing quality. It might actually be better because I don't have to re-listen to the same conversation 10 times over.
And all of Austin's projects will be, since Austin, technically works for me, even though he's not getting paid, even though he technically works for me, the projects will be, associated with Floor Chapstick Productions, and they'll have their own YouTube channels, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But you'll be able to access them through the Floor Chapstick YouTube page. It'll be all offshoot pages and stuff like that.
Yeah, it'll still be my own little thing. If you ever start a thing, it'll be your own little thing, so on and so forth. But it's all essentially gonna draw back to this. It'll be referenced. So that's interesting. You want to bring that up after this?
Yeah, that's white power in itself right there.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Trying to delay the racism in the league.
A little bit. But yeah, that was just what that's something to put out there. It won't be happening for another 2 weeks at this point.
Yeah, Danny comes home the 25th, so
yeah. So that'll be like 2 days before we record the next episode, or 2 episodes from now.
And I don't even know if he'll be on that episode the week he comes back. Yeah. He's got to settle in and stuff, and
we'll try and get him on.
Yeah,
it's
I'm working on getting him a car and stuff too, helping him get a car.
So there's that announcement. We were gonna do it next week or the week after that, but it just happened to come up.
Fucking asshole jumped the gun and shit. Breaking news that's obviously gonna be still talked about on Sunday and could be for actually a few months going into the year, into the season. I just fucking swiped out of it, so there's that.
Good job. A+.
The NFL is considering rewarding teams with higher draft picks for hiring minorities as GMs and head coaches and coaching positions. Holy shit, I didn't even need to look at it again, and I fucking memorized it word for word. That's pretty fucking cool. But yeah, so they plan to boost picks for minority hires. Let the thing load up. Boop, beep, 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 beep.
Glad to see nothing's changed.
Yeah. See, don't you? Once it gets to a 3-man show, by that time we'll have another laptop and we'll have internet in here, so we'll have it all organized on that laptop, and one of three each week.
Be prepared.
Right. Each week there will be 2 people who do mostly the talking, and that third person will be in charge of, they'll chime in and stuff, and it'll be a 3-way conversation, but they'll be in charge of directing the episode basically and making sure we stay on track, especially me and Danny, because
you guys won't shut the fuck up.
Once things get figured out here, we have an unreleased episode that I don't know what happened to the footage. It just never, the Vegas
I
episode.
have the first stuff that you sent me, like the clips from the actual trip, but not the actual episode. Remember the B-roll?
Is there a way we could get the clips out though?
I mean, we can. It just wouldn't really make sense out of context. So if we have the unreleased footage, then I can splice it all together,
Yeah, I have. So there's been, I'm trying to get him the unreleased footage somehow, some way, but there is an unreleased episode with me and Danny when I was in Vegas, and it's pretty fucking wild. It should have started a beef. I was hoping it would have started a beef between Austin and Dan, but that'll happen when he gets here.
Too late.
Real quick, back to on topic here. As you can see, I get off topic a lot. The NFL is considering improving draft picks for teams that hire minority candidates as either coaches or general managers. Under the plan, a team would improve its third round pick by 10 spots for hiring a minority candidate as a general manager or equivalent level position, and 6 spots for hiring a minority candidate as head coach.
That's ridiculous. I'm sorry, that's genuinely bullshit.
The draft boost could stack. They could stack, so you could hire a black coach and a black GM and
go up 16 picks.
Move up 16 spots altogether.
That's bullshit. I'm sorry, that I understand the idea of wanting to.
There's more. Retaining minority coaches and general managers would be rewarded as well. According to sources, a team would move up 5 spots in the 4th if its coach or general manager was entering their 3rd year on the job. A quarterback coach would earn a 4th round I don't know how to say compensatory pick if they are retained for 1 year. Teams would also receive draft compensation for losing minority candidates to other teams, according to the report. A minority candidate leaving to become a head coach or general manager would be worth a 3rd round
compensatory
pick, while a coordinator hire would garner a 5th round pick for the former team. The proposal was submitted by the league's diversity committee and is expected to be addressed during a virtual meeting Thursday. It would need 24 of 32 votes in favor to pass. When asked about the proposal, the NFL declined to comment, to NFL.com of all places, surprising. But a league source told ESPN that Commissioner Roger Goodell is in favor of the proposals. Of course he is.
Of course he's going to be.
During this offseason, only one head coach hired, Ron Rivera was a minority candidate.
I'm sorry, that just, like, it, I don't want...
You know about the Rooney Rule?
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, the Rooney Rule requires every team to interview a qualified minority candidate for head coaching jobs, but it doesn't affect the hiring decisions of owners. Therefore, according to league sources, the NFL is also considering requiring multiple interviews of minority candidates for head coaching positions and expanding the Rooney Rule to include coordinator positions. The league will also consider removing a rule that allows teams to block assistant coaches from interviewing for other teams' coordinator positions, a league source told ESPN. The rest of Tuesday's agenda is likely to include a focus on health and safety measures as well as reopening procedures. The league is still operating under the guideline that until every team can have its coaches and players in its facility, no team can reopen. But teams may be able to open their building to administrative staffing depending on local guidelines. And that is all according to ESPN.
I'm sorry, that's just ridiculous. To me, that is ludicrous. The fact that
you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like modern day slave trading.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
In a way that's not, I wouldn't say, that's going to get cut. Yeah. Let me rephrase it. You know what that is to me? That's like playing human chess.
Maybe. Go ahead and elaborate.
Wait, that's not a good one. What's like?
Okay.
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
You know what that is? You know what that is? This will get cut. All that'll get cut. This is what it is. We gotta keep the content good. Anyway, you know what that is to
That was
me?
pretty funny. Go ahead.
It's like human trafficking.
I still don't understand what you mean.
Damn it. Fuck.
I'm leaving all. This is funny. Either way, so that's bullshit. I'm sorry. To force a team to interview minorities, I kind of understand it because you don't want to whitewash your league. But
Too late.
don't you think that the qualified, like the people who are qualified, should be the ones getting the interview? I understand they said minority, that is a qualified minority, but the thing is that can change. Qualifying doesn't mean anything. Ron Rivera isn't qualified for every team.
Is it me or did we have this conversation about minorities and coaching positions a couple weeks ago as well?
Potentially. Honestly, I don't remember. They all kind of blend together when it comes to the NFL's stupid
Racism.
shit.
No, it's when we were talking about Kaepernick.
We
Had a debate about race. The league is the NFL is one of the most racist things in the world, but it's also, America's pastime.
Let's
What
not
was
get
that?
into race.
What was the do you remember that quote that the Houston Texans owner said before he died?
Mm-mm.
He said you can't, when talking about Kaepernick addressing the situation, he said you can't let the inmates run the prison.
I have heard that. Yeah, that's fucked up.
And on that, there we go. That's what I wanted to go off of. It's like basically the coaches and GMs is like finding the best prison guards and best wardens and stuff like that. If we're going off that comment, if we're going off of that, it's like basically paying someone to not be racist. It's passive aggressively saying, "Hey, we're racist, but we're trying not to be."
Yeah, to a degree, yeah. Because
we fucked up with Kaepernick. We don't want that to happen again.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to make up for something that, to a degree, they probably should try and make up for. But I feel like you're pushing it in the wrong direction. I feel like you're doing it in the wrong way. I feel like it's just ludicrous to me to think that a team can go up 16 spots. Just for having a minority.
Now imagine if you have
GM.
the first pick in the third round, you can move up to the second
round. Yeah,
or the first.
They should change it to where at least if they do have something along those lines, it should be way down, like picks.
What about the
10.
team that has that pick already though?
I'm assuming everybody just gets bumped down one.
That's
what I'm
stupid.
assuming. Which I just don't think it. I think it should be drastically dropped, like half that.
Yeah.
So 5 and 3 instead of 10 and 6.
That's ridiculous.
But I don't think you should be able to leave the round that you're picking in. You
It
shouldn't
didn't
be able
say
to go
if you
from the
can
third
or
to the
can't,
second.
but like.
If it would say that you couldn't if that was in there.
But it's
though.
not all like it's according to sources. It's not confirmed.
It's not
officially.
finalized or confirmed or anything. But I think that's ridiculous. So off of that, speaking of the NFL. The schedules were released. Was it a day or two?
Is that one
ago?
of the current? Is that for current event segment?
Mm-hmm.
We'll save that. That's
this has
that's
to do
a
with the NFL.
That's a different segment
That's
though.
NFL.
We'll move on. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to the NFL. The thing that's on everyone's mind that we obviously talk about every week that we start off the episode with that we didn't, coronavirus.
Yeah.
Cook County here in Illinois now has passed Queens, New York for the most cases in the United States.
It's in the United States?
In the United States.
Wow.
That is fucking insane.
Yeah. I
But
didn't know that Queens was the most up until now.
But it didn't say if it was confirmed, active, or tested.
Yeah.
I believe it was like confirmed, just like all the cases that have been confirmed. Because they don't give...
Those numbers are so inflated, though.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
I was talking to my buddy the other day, and I was like, you know why they don't talk about Florida, Texas, Georgia, the Dakotas... or the good numbers anymore, or the good numbers. And he's like, I know why they don't talk about the good numbers, because a lot of people wake up and see, it's not as bad as it really is. Don't get me wrong, it's bad, but for the majority of people, it's not. You could go out and live your life and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I've been going to work for the past 2 months and have had no issues. So.
Right, and he was like, but I don't understand why they don't talk about the states that are open. And I was like, because they're doing fine.
Yeah.
Look. Georgia.
That's not what gets the views, and that's not what gets people.
Good news
afraid.
doesn't get views because people will be like, oh, nice, I can go out and live. I don't have anything to worry about. I don't have to, be glued to, be always looking over my shoulder.
People inside if it's like, oh, North Dakota's fine, I'll be fine,
right?
And just go out with no mask and go into the middle of a store and cough on people
right.
like a dickhead,
Yeah, and speaking of staying inside, have you seen the Lori Lightfoot memes? Like the stay inside, save lives? She's really embraced that.
Oh, 100%.
The Where's Lightfoot thing.
She's doing shit on TikTok, which I think we talked about last
week.
Dude,
she is great. She is like a...
She's a fucking
She's
goblin.
the people's mayor, so she's like a people's person. You can relate to her. And she's also, she runs the city pretty well.
Dude, I haven't had too many issues, but then again, I don't live in Chicago, so I can't say for sure.
As someone who has, knows a lot of people who live in Chicago and is in Chicago frequently and, associates, I say I spend more of my time in Chicago than I do here. She's doing a great job. Better than
I have no complaints. So
better than Nine Finger Emmanuel. You know, I didn't know he had 9 fingers until the last year of his term.
I didn't know that until just now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he only has 9 fingers.
I didn't know that.
It's hard to tell.
Clearly, it's his ring finger by the way you're doing it.
I think that's just the way I assume it. It's the easiest way and it's also 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink.
I got it.
Shaka. That's for you little kids at home who are watching. Also,
look it up.
If you're on we should age restrict our videos.
I mean, we can.
I think they should be.
I have it set to don't show to kids.
Oh, okay.
So
well, anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I think he's missing a thumb.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I work with a guy that he's missing his pinky.
Did he ever tell you the story of how he lost it?
Mm-mm.
I heard the story of how someone lost. He lost all of his fingers in the accident, but they were able to salvage 3.
Wow.
So he's missing his thumb and his pinky. Yeah. So he's just, like this.
Yeah.
And he's an older gentleman. He's my friend's dad.
Mm-hmm.
And well, not my friend. I wouldn't say an associate. His dad was working on the snowblower back in the 80s, and it got jammed, and he stuck his hand in there and clogged it, and it just boom. He said, "Whoa, God!" The doctors were able to salvage his index, middle, and ring finger, but he lost his thumb and pinky.
Ugh. Do you remember that health teacher in back in high school, the real charismatic one? You ever see? I think it was his thumb that he lost in a car accident. But they reattached it.
Yeah, do you know?
He can't move it.
Do you remember how he told you? Did you know? I don't want to use names of our teachers on here anymore.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like when I use names and stuff from now on, I kind of change them up to protect identities and stuff. Anyway, he told me that when he told the story to every class, obviously.
Yeah. He
lost it. The seatbelt cut it off.
Mm-hmm.
He got thrust forward and he tried to stop himself or something, and the
force of him getting thrown, because he got thrown through the windshield or the window.
I don't know.
It was he got thrown out of the vehicle.
I think it was through the windshield.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. He got thrown out of the vehicle, and I think he hit a tree. I'm pretty sure he said that he hit a tree, and he lost his thumb. So, off of that, no more talking.
I'm lucky
about
I didn't
losing
lose any.
I haven't lost any appendages or digits or anything yet.
Just some.
I'm waiting for it, but
just some memories. I got.
Oh yeah.
I also have memory loss from genetics and stuff like that.
I've had so many concussions and hits to the head. I think I do have memory problems sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, to a degree, I think it is there. But
see, I like when we have the podcast when it goes like this, when it's just a conversation and it's not, and then we talk about certain things.
Wow,
that's the way it should go.
The mood.
Whatever, fuck off. You know what I noticed the other day? We'll keep the conversation going before I transition into
you can
the current events that you have.
Yeah.
And the current events that I have. It's a separate segment, so you'll know.
Okay.
Chill.
Okay.
I noticed the other day. Also, real quick, new shirt, by the way.
Looking good.
Target, $21.
Cocoa nuts.
I don't
even shop at Target.
Oh, I shop at Target.
I work there, and I can't buy clothes there. I have one sweater from I was wearing like a bull shirt or whatever. It was all red. It got torn in the stock room. I was back in the stock room, and I had went to grab something off the ground, and the back of my shirt got caught on like a nail or whatever.
Oof.
Or screw, so it tore like a triangle out of the back of my shirt. So I'm like, shit, that screw wasn't supposed to be there. Can I get a new shirt? So my HR is like, yeah, we'll wreck it out, whatever. So I grabbed a sweater. It was actually Stranger Things, like a lifeguard
Mm-hmm.
sweater, which I didn't even watch Stranger Things at the time. It was just the only red thing I could find. It was a 2X, but that is the slimmest 2X because I can wear 2X at times, depending on like this is a 2X, which, repping the Misfits, love these guys. But I can wear 2Xs; they're fine. This 2X felt like it was a 1X. It was insane. Like I cannot wear
Also,
Target stuff.
This shirt matches my pants. This is a medium. I got a medium because it'll shrink. It shrunk in the wash actually when I washed it.
Mm-hmm.
And
To be expected.
I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I don't know if you've seen it either. You know my button-up like pineapple shirt I have.
Yes.
I when I got in my accident, it tore the pocket, like the pocket and like the sleeve and shit.
Wow.
The seatbelt did that,
Mm-hmm.
and which, come to find out, the seatbelt fabric can be very strong. And
Yeah.
that's why they have blades to
That's
cut it. And
why
shit.
they use it.
Oh fuck. I'll get into this in a minute here. God damn.
Let's get into that after we come back from our break.
Oh yes, break time, whatever. Woo. We're back.
Yep.
Welcome back. One thing I forgot to mention when we were talking about memes. You guys we've all seen the dancing Ghana pallbearers and stuff like that. They posted a video, and the gist of the video is like, telling people to stay home. They're talking about how the coronavirus is very serious. And the last thing they say is, stay home or you'll be dancing with us. And I was like, holy fuck, dude. Like, and he said it with a smile and he laughed. I'm going to find the video. I'll send it to you. So we'll put it in here. Here's the video. There's the clip of the video. Yeah. It's fucking, dude, he's staring dead at the camera and he's like, stay home or you'll be dancing with us. And then it plays the song that like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know how it goes.
Whatever. Yes! I saw that
Great,
and I
cool
was
story.
like, fuck, I'm going to go outside now.
So what happened to your shoulder?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. It's just been bothering me. It feels like I pulled a muscle in it or something, or
You gotta take it easy at night, dude.
I'm not doing any of that really. Not as much as I haven't.
Not as much as
I
some may.
I can't. My shoulder.
So we found out that he is a true lefty.
The thing is that that you can tell that if you know. I'll explain that to you later.
No, I think I get it.
Anyway, enough about that. I'm very lonely during the coronavirus. Just kidding. I have. Oh my god. All right,
Move on.
back on track. It started bothering me after draft night.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And it's been bothering me ever since. Like, there will be
You went too hard on those tendies.
I think it was how we were throwing the ball and shooting basketballs for a while, and I hadn't thrown a football in months, so I wasn't warmed up or anything. And I'm not trying to be like macho and shit like that, like it, didn't stretch or anything like that. And it's just been bothering me. So like I can go like this. I don't know who that is. Hold on, we'll take a quick break while I take this. Hold on. This will stay in.
Matthew Stafford selling his home.
Oh, fuck. Shut up. We'll get into current events, you asshole.
I just got notification.
I saw that this morning, you lazy fuck. My
Sorry,
shoulder.
I don't follow Matthew Stafford.
So yeah, I can like raise it up like this. I might raise my arm up like this, but like pulling it over like this, it really hurts. It's tight up here. There will be a couple of days ago, what was it? 2 days ago, I went out to Elgin to hang out with Damien, and Damien and I were tossing a football around. And before that, my arm felt fine for a few days. And tossing the ball around, I felt fine. And then Jesus, again. Flashback to another
episode. That either. That's happened in like 6 different episodes.
Yeah. Didn't get us to jump like that, though, like it did.
Like in the Halloween episode. That was good.
Especially for Halloween. Anyway, but like 45 minutes after we were done throwing the ball around, my arm was just fucking throbbing. And I was like, dude, I got to go home. Like, my arm is just in immense pain. I haven't taken any Tylenol or like put any ice on it.
Do that.
I don't know.
I mean, I fully understand. I've been there so many times.
Because like my thing is like whenever I injure myself, I always think it's the worst. So like my brain is like, oh, it's a torn rotator cuff.
Yeah,
So like
exactly.
I shouldn't ice it or take medication for it, and that might make it worse. So I've been like sleeping on my back and shit. It's fucking horrendous.
don't
I can't go to the
understand
doctor.
You don't sleep on your back normally?
No, I sleep on my side.
Okay. At least you're not a stomach sleeper.
Oh god.
Those, I don't understand how I used to do it.
I don't understand
I
how
can't
people
do it
can
anymore.
breathe.
I don't. Well, I mean, I used to. I burrowed my face into my pillow or like between the pillow and my bed. Like it was comfortable. Like it was the coolest. Like it was the most cool in terms of temperature, I should say. And it was just super comfortable. But then my lower back started getting real bad. Like it hurt all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Started sleeping on my back. It almost completely went away.
I just started sleeping on my back. Not like I do it when I'm at like not in my own bed, or like if I'm at Maria's or something, I'll sleep on my side. But if I'm at like my dad's, or like when I was staying at Andy's the other night, like I slept on my back.
Gotcha.
Well, then again, I was sleeping on the floor, and sleeping on your side on the fucking carpet floor is
That can't
not
feel
the
too
best.
good.
No. So, I don't know what it is, but I love like sleeping on my back on a floor is much more enjoyable to me than
It's kind of therapeutic.
yeah. I get a better night's sleep sleeping on my back on a floor than I do sleeping on my back in my bed.
I wouldn't go that far for me at least, but yeah, I do know what you're talking about. Like sleeping on your back on like a hard floor. I don't know what it is. It feels really.
You know what a good night's sleep is though? Is after you fall asleep on the bathroom floor with just one pillow and one blanket. You're back on the cold bathroom floor.
Without the blanket, I agree.
Oh yeah, without the blanket because you're sweating from violently throwing up.
Yep.
Oh god, and you're like
I knew
in
exactly
the fetal.
where you were going.
You're in the fetal position for the first 20 minutes because you think you're gonna throw up again. You drink some water and you're like, oh, I'm good. And you lay on your back. You're like, I'm gonna throw up later tonight for sure, but I'm gonna lay on my back. And you don't puke at all the rest of the night. You wake up and you're like, fuck, man, I should sleep like that more often.
And then you never do because it's disgusting.
Because you realize you feel like shit beforehand.
You feel like garbage beforehand, and that's your only option, and it feels good at the time because it's cold and it's uncomfortable, but it's the best feeling you could possibly have when your body's overheating. So
Right. What have you been doing What were you doing this week? We didn't talk about that.
work.
Yeah.
Just work, and I've been trying to do a few things for recording my own stuff, but nothing really has come of it yet.
Yeah, my new job has been very dependent on the weather. You know,
Oh, I can imagine.
working on a golf course and stuff, doing course maintenance.
Wishy-washy,
Yeah.
especially with Chicago weather. It's like one weekend it can be raining all through, like from Friday up through Sunday, it could be raining, and then the rest of the month it'd be bone dry.
Right.
So I could definitely imagine the frustration of having to deal with that.
Yeah, and like this week we were washed out a few days, and like Sunday, I mean Sunday I took the day off because Saturday, Sunday was Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice. I went and saw my mom for the first time in a while, which was kind of like weird. She like I got there, she's staying in a hotel as you guys know, and she's gonna hear if she hears this, I don't give a fuck because I have an opinion on it. But like I got there, I drove there obviously, and she offered me a beer knowing that I was gonna leave in a little bit. Like I don't think that's a very good, look on even though I'm an adult and shit and I can make my own decisions and I'm responsible for myself, and she's technically not responsible for me anymore. That's just not a good. I wouldn't say it's a good motherly move.
Yeah, no, I can see where you're coming from. Of course, if it's one beer, I don't see a problem. But then again, that's also differing opinions.
It's if it was like if I came to your house and like I was just like, let's say I came to your house and dropped off a Mother's Day card for your mom, and you were like, oh, you want a beer? I'd be like, yeah, sure, that's fine.
But the fact that it's your mother.
But the fact that it's my mother and that 10 years of my life where, I don't obviously have a problem drinking, but I have a problem drinking with my mother or watching my mother drink.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hypocritical and shit like that. Cause I'll get shit faced on my own, but I don't like that my mom gets shit faced. Because when she does, sometimes she's not responsible. Like,
which is fair.
Right.
I get it.
I never told you guys the story, and I never told anyone the story except one person. When I was living out in McHenry at her house after, I think it was 2017, I had like a whole Harry Potter situation. I lived in the laundry room.
Mm-hmm.
So you come down the stairs, you walk in, it's like a little foyer there, foyer hallway, and then there's like curtains, and then the washer and dryer.
Yeah.
They set up like a cot, put a mattress on it, made that my own little room. I had like a shelf and shit like that. I had a little, I kept my clothes and shit in boxes. It was and I had a bead door, so it was real Harry Potter-esque lack of privacy. But I was able to do my online school and shit like that.
Yeah.
Throwback to when I was in online school. And there was one time where she went out to drink with her friends, and she told her fiance at the time that she was going to work, because she would, work nights sometimes. So she told her fiance she was going to work. She went out to a bar with a group of her friends. She got too hammered to drive home, and she asked me to come and pick her up. And I was like, I guess, but like this shouldn't be my job. This should be your job.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't 21 at the time either.
Mm-hmm.
So I should be the one picking, I should be the one calling you, being like, hey, I'm too wasted to drive myself home. I drink at a party. Can you come pick me up?
Yeah.
But instead it was, I moved out when I was 18 because I was sick of taking care of my mom and raising my siblings, which I was told by my brother the other day that I did a good job, which actually means a lot to me because, that's what I feel like is my biggest failure. But like, where was I going? What was I saying? Damn it, what did I say about my brother? Oh, it was like I moved out when I was 18 because I was sick of, having to basically take care of my mom and be the adult. And then here I am again, a short year later doing the same thing again. And it's like, when does it fucking end?
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like I want to see her move out of the hotel, but at the same time, I kind of hope she stays there and like realizes like, fuck, everything I've done and all the decisions I've made have led me to, I'm 40-something years old. My 3 kids don't really associate with me, and when they do, it's kind of faked and forced.
Mm-hmm.
My middle child has nothing to do with me and hates my guts. My fiance currently tried to push me off a balcony once and is the reason most of my kids don't talk to me. I'm never getting out of this, but still she's like, I'm only living here till Mara turns 18. Then me and Daryl are out of here. We're moving to Wisconsin. She told my dad that when I was 15. And my dad broke that to me one day when he picked me up. Mm-hmm. When I was 15, my mom was with Daryl. I was a freshman in high school. My mom was with Daryl. She's with him again now. So she was in a relationship, and like my mom and my dad have always hated each other, but since my dad was back, my mom was like, oh, maybe I can, after keeping my son away from him for 15 years and, finding out that he can actually owe me this much money, maybe I'll go, try and hit on him and get in his pants and go after the money. And that's exactly what she did. I saw the messages. She went after him. It wasn't a good, cool move. Mm-hmm. I don't hold that against her. But it's just like, I don't feel like a fucking, like I didn't have a chance to fucking grow up really, and I had to learn how to do that at a young age, and then I had to put that on pause for 10 years, and then had to do it at 18, and it's like people already expected me to have like that experience I didn't have. It's like I had to do this, and it's like, oh, everyone has to go through that, and it's like, no, they don't. Yeah. Not everyone has to go to a different school for elementary school, middle school, and high school. Not everyone has to live in this, you know about Ellie's husband, right? Mm-hmm. I can't put it on the podcast. It's public information, but I don't want to talk about it and tarnish an image and disgrace my last name more than it already is. It's just a lot of shit that like has built up to the point where it's like I'm, 22, almost 23, and I'm finally doing the thing that I want to do, and it's still like my mom doesn't say shit about it, but my dad, it's like I'm not I'm cementing my own legacy and not following in his footsteps like he wanted me to. Mm-hmm. And he's got a problem with that. And you'd think it's like, for me, if I was a father, I'd want my son to make his own legacy. And if he wanted, I wouldn't push him so hard to do the thing I'm doing and follow in my footsteps. If he wanted to do that, I would embrace it. But I would make that his decision. I would let him address it first, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, oh, shit. But, yeah, back to the whole thing. I just started thinking about all that when she was like, you want a beer? And I was like, no, I'm good. And she's like, all right, I'm going to have one. And her cup was already, like, half fucking full. I was like, dude, finish the first one before you fucking crack another one.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the entire way of driving home, I was like, maybe it was just, like, a test. But then again, it was like, that's my mom. So she's like, he's an adult. He could, you know, I don't know. I don't know, dude. This fucking coronavirus has been fucking crazy. We lost a lot of sports. This is transition. One of the last things I want to talk about, kind of transitioning into current events here. UFC is back. Last Saturday was UFC 249.
Yep.
It was really great to watch because you could hear the breathing and the punches and the kicks landing in the corners.
Mm-hmm.
But it really reminded me of when I was at UFC 248, and when Danny and I we went for the early prelims to the main card. We went for the whole thing. We were there for like 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And in the early prelims, there's not a lot of people in the arena. And so doesn't matter where you're sitting in the arena, you can hear them bouncing around the octagon, the corners yelling, the punches and the kicks landing, even from the nosebleed seats. And it was cool watching that on TV, and like it just reminded me of being there.
It seems a little bit more surreal in that kind of case.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Back to last week's episode when you were giving me shit for talking about Cowboy potentially losing. Mm-hmm. He fucking lost in a decision. Everyone I wanted to win lost. So that's usually how it goes with the UFC, except for 248. The one UFC event that I went to was the only one. No, there was two fights from 248 that I was successful in picking the winner. Mm-hmm. But watching that, you know, they had one Wednesday night as well, which was kind of uneventful. You could hear the in-ring conversation, the in-octagon conversation though between the fighters. The one guy was on top. He was like trying to lock in a bulldog choke, and the guy on bottom was he was pulling out. We found out that he was pulling out his teeth because he got hit so hard his teeth came out.
Wow. And
his real teeth, which is fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The guy on top.
Must watch hockey.
Right. The guy on top. It was Glover Teixeira versus Anthony Smith, and Anthony Smith is he's on bottom. Glover Teixeira is on top, trying to lock in a bulldog choke, and you can hear Glover say because of the coach's corners mics. You can hear Glover say to Smith, he's like, "Sorry, buddy, it's all a part of the job." And Anthony's like, what? And Glover's like, it's all a part of the job. And Anthony Smith goes, yeah, it is what it is. And I was like, you don't hear that shit with the fans in the stands, you know?
It's a bit of a real moment between the two. Like,
it's a new experience.
Like, that's the thing is, like, people don't realize how much respect people really do have for each other, even though they're beating the shit out of each other.
Right.
It's like you said, it's all a part of the job.
And watching the announcer, the commentators, you know, John Anik, Daniel Cormier, DC, and Rogan on last Saturday for the event. DC was like super excited, and he was like touching Rogan's elbow and everything. He was just excited to be around him because they knew that they would have to sit 6 feet apart, you know, on different ends of the octagon, and then they were eventually, you know, allowed to. They were like, "Fuck it, we're gonna stand next to each other, sit next to each other." It's like halfway through the event. But that had me thinking, like, what's the next major sport to come back? And it turns out that it's going to be fucking baseball.
Yeah, I heard about that. They're like, as long as everybody's going to get tested. Everybody has temperature checks every morning. And if you catch the corona, you're gone. But the team is still going to play on.
Right.
Which I like that idea. It's just how much of it is really going to be implemented before things start going too far. I just don't see... I don't see it really working. They would have to do another spring training just to see how it works.
Did you hear what the Utah Jazz players were saying? Mm-mm. They were like, we're fine, dude. Like, let us play. Yeah. The Lakers are opening up their practice facility to let the team practice again, which is cool. Lakers are first to do it.
It just sucks knowing that sports really aren't, like, they're not going to be back in the way that we want them to be anytime soon.
And on that note, speaking of sports, it's time for one of our most unorganized segments that will be more organized next week because we'll have Austin will hopefully understand that, and I've kind of fucked it up too, that our main talking points should be in the current events section, and we'll have a conversation first half of the episode. Anyway, we should know by now with 35 out of 40-something weeks in. Current events. You wanted to talk about the NFL schedule. We'll get back.
Yes.
We'll start with the sports, and then we'll move in to things. So the NFL schedule was released.
Yeah, I don't want to end things with sports.
It's supposed to start on time in September.
That's what they were saying, but I have something to add on to that I heard about. So they were saying if things do not start on time, they said if things don't start by September, weeks 1 through 3 will actually get pushed to the end. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
Did you see that thing I sent you on Instagram today?
Yeah,
I would love for that to happen.
I honestly, at this point, I can see it happening.
That's a tit for the Bears fans would be happy. That's a tit for tat.
I would like for him to go to the Bears. I'm not
No,
saying I wouldn't.
I was saying.
No, I know what you mean because he's leaving. He's leaving the Packers. Like that's good for the Bears and all. But
we're talking. What did you think I sent you on Instagram today?
it said the 2021 offseason is the landing spot for Rodgers potentially for the Raiders.
Yeah. Okay, we're on the
Yeah.
same topic.
Yeah.
You were just transitioning into something like I was saying he would go to the Bears.
No. I would like for him to go to the Bears though. I would
that would
take,
never happen.
Of course it wouldn't. Well,
That's
I mean,
like Brady
Favre,
going to the Giants.
That's like Favre going to the Vikings.
No, that's not that
Yes,
rivalry.
it is.
That rivalry is not as deep though as the
That
Bears
rivalry,
Packers though.
but at the time that rivalry was bigger because the Vikings were actually supposed to be good. They actually gave the Packers, competition.
Right,
The Bears
at the-
barely give Packers
at the
competition
time,
in the past
but-
15 years.
Yeah, but I'm saying historically, it wouldn't make sense for Rodgers to go to the Bears after beating the shit out of them all these years. He's like, I feel bad. Might as well win a
You
few.
never know. Maybe. But the thing is, in the same way that Favre would have or the way that he wanted to face the Packers twice a year. He wanted to go beat them twice a year.
Yeah.
And in reality, a 37-year-old Rodgers is still better than Trubisky and Foles.
Which, if you don't know what we're talking about, you probably heard it by now. Aaron Rodgers is, quote, surprised by the Jordan Love pick and says retiring as a Packer may not be a reality after drafting Jordan Love. So,
Favre didn't retire a Packer.
literally, what we're watching is while we were growing up, while we were children, this same situation was unfolding with Favre and Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
But it's unfolding with Rodgers and Love now, except Love was picked one pick later than Rodgers was.
And Love is nowhere near as talented. In my honest opinion, I do not see.
But
Love
was
being the
Rodgers in
next
college?
Rodgers.
Was Rodgers
I don't see it.
in college? I mean, obviously he wasn't. If he wasn't,
No, Rodgers. The only reason that Rodgers dropped is because he wasn't picked number 1. It was Alex Smith. The only reason that he would have dropped a little bit less is because he was less of a risk. But Aaron Rodgers, he was seen as risky. He was seen as risky the same way that Patrick Mahomes was seen as risky. But Rodgers didn't have the benefit of having a lot of teams looking for a quarterback. That's the biggest difference, is that when Rodgers was picked, the only teams that really needed a quarterback were the Niners, Packers, and I'm sure the Bears needed one at that point, but that's besides the point.
what was that? 2004.
2003, 4, or 5, somewhere around there.
Did you ever watch the Michael Vick documentary on ESPN Plus?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Michael Vick ran so. If we're comparing speed and oh my god, history is doomed to repeat itself. They say, and with the era that we live in now in sports, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson is Michael Vick.
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers, Love, Brady, Favre. Favre, Rodgers.
Yeah.
It's, tit for tat with those two. But the thing is, it's like, that Michael Vick was something we've never seen before, not only on the field, but off the field too. He was the first major sports athlete that was super involved in the hip hop world. And
I was just like, what he did off the field. Yeah,
that too.
We don't see that very often, especially not anymore.
But at the same time, the guy was you got to cut the guy some slack. He was a young kid. He was an impressionable young kid. He was
Dogfighting is still
dogfighting
pretty
is
extreme.
you should know better.
There's difference between smoking weed and getting yourself out of the league, like Josh Gordon
and Ricky Williams.
Ricky Williams too.
Well, Josh Gordon got himself out of the league because he couldn't put down the fucking PEDs. That's what's got him
that
out.
didn't help, but he was on thin ice because he kept testing positive for weed or getting caught with.
They
weed.
should allow him back now because of that. Same with LeGarrette Blount.
The thing is, it's not the point that he.
Do you remember when LeGarrette Blount and Le'Veon Bell got caught with weed?
Yeah,
that's so funny.
It wasn't the point that he kept testing positive for weed, because even the teams probably didn't give a shit that it was weed. It's that when you set a precedent of you're not gonna listen, you turn into a head case.
Yeah.
You turn into a problem in the locker room when you keep getting suspended for anything. It could have been,
but isn't it
the wrong cleats, and he still would be out. I don't know about being out of the league for cleats, but still, same idea.
But doesn't it say something about him standing his ground and not wavering on his point?
It doesn't matter, because when there's a difference between standing your ground.
On the other hand, what I just said, you should be open to new opinions. You know, changing your.
But to stand your ground is one thing, but to literally just keep breaking the rules, it's like when a dog goes and eats something off the table, gets smacked upside the head and told no. The dog keeps going up there, you're going to have to get that dog get trained, or you're going to have to give away the dog. I know that's an extreme example, but you're going to have to make sure that dog doesn't keep eating what he's not supposed to eat, or smoking what he's not supposed to smoke in this case. It's not the point that he was smoking weed. Everybody smokes weed. No one gives a shit about weed. I don't. I even smoke weed now. That was something I never cared about. But it's the fact that you keep getting caught doing the same stupid shit that you really. It's not. It's the point that you just don't listen, and you're just a head case at that point. That's why he's out of the league, not because he smokes weed. That's the biggest thing.
Did you see Tekashi got released?
Yeah, I did.
So he got released from jail.
On enough people, you know.
He got released from jail, carries himself so high for being a snitch, went on Instagram Live and broke the record for the most amount of views on live. He got 5.5 million people on there. And he was on there talking about how it takes a real man to work with the federal government.
Get the fuck out of here.
And it's like, come on, dude.
You're a snitch.
The funniest fucking thing is that he denied witness protection, which makes sense because, well, how the fuck are you gonna hide that? Yeah. You know, he's got a lot of tattoos, and his hair is the fucking rainbow. You know, that would be a lot of work to hide. Yeah,
that's too much.
Also, he's gonna continue working in the music career. He released an album, it just dropped a music video. Sorry,
the first stuff that he releases for the next, I'd say, year or two is going to still be big because everybody still knows who he is. But because he's done all that shit, he's going to drop off in the next year. It's a guarantee.
Yeah. They're all like the big hip hop heads, like Snoop Dogg and that. They're all like, if you're glorifying Tekashi for being a snitch and still listening to his music, you've got it all fucking wrong. Like, what the fuck? That's not how hip hop is.
It's completely backwards.
Yeah.
It is. He is the antithesis of what like a rapper or someone in the hip hop scene should be. You know?
So he's on house arrest. He petitioned for his release because he was afraid of coronavirus. That's how he got out.
Of course.
He's on house arrest. His neighbor, his dumbass, Tekashi, Tanashi, whatever, Tanashi 71, Mr. Blue Skies, whatever you want to fucking call him. I call him Idiot Face. He went outside on his porch. His neighbor saw him. And his neighbor's like, man, fuck this guy, and did what any normal person would do and be like, hey, this is where Tekashi lives, bop, 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 and put it on every social media he could. It fucking blew up, and they had to move him to another location because people found out where he lived.
That's
and it's like,
that's funny.
You
though.
Fucking idiot. This wouldn't, you should have taken the WITSEC. They would have put you in like Wyoming or somewhere, or like a third world country. Mm-hmm. You know where they would have put him? They would have sent him where they send all like the shirts for the losing team of the championships.
Yeah. Send it down to Nigeria.
All the teams that think the 49ers won the Super Bowl and that...
all the teams that thought the Patriots were just really unlucky.
Yeah.
Only one championship in their entire existence.
2.
Did they lose? Oh, they lost one to the Packers. And they lost one to the Bears and Packers. That's what I'm saying. They have 2 to their name instead of 6 to their name. Yeah.
No, Brady lost twice to the Giants.
Oh shit, that's right. They did lose twice to the Giants.
Brady wasn't a
I
quarterback.
was thinking Patriots in general.
Bledsoe. Then they would have.
Because
Then
they had the one from the Bears. They would have four. Yeah.
The Bears, the Packers. So
Giants.
Steve Grogan was
Oh,
quarterback.
he also lost to the Eagles.
Oh yeah, so five. So the quarterback losing Patriots Super Bowl quarterbacks are as follows: Steve Grogan, I believe. Double check me on that one.
I
believe so. I'm pretty confident on that one. Grogan, Bledsoe, Brady.
Yeah. It's still 6-3.
Brady is the winningest Super Bowl quarterback in Patriots history, and also the losingest Super Bowl quarterback in Patriots history.
So this is actually that brings up a good point. I feel like this could be probably the last thing. I want to hear your opinion. So this is a very strange question because the phrasing is important. So in your knowledge of sports, now of course you're not going to be so well versed in every sport, but in your opinion, who is the most dominant athlete in their respective sport? Now the phrasing here is important because I'm not saying who is the most dominant athlete ever, because obviously LeBron James is a better athlete than Patrick Kane. But when I say best in their respective sport, who's greatest of all time, what sport's greatest of all time is greater than everybody else compared to the other greatest of all time?
So you saying the...
So you know how each of the
four
four
for
sports,
example, for like basketball, like...
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan is the GOAT of all GOATs. Like he's better than Magic Johnson, who's also a GOAT. He's better than LeBron, who's a GOAT.
Yeah.
You know?
So he was
so like Montana, like if I were to pick Brady over Montana, stuff like that.
Yeah. So the reason I ask is because,
are we talking about athlete?
So athlete is just the term that I use for someone who plays a sport. So because obviously Tom Brady's not a better athlete than Jerry Rice. Like
right.
But, and I personally think Jerry Rice was a better receiver than any quarterback ever has been at quarterback. He was more dominant at receiver than any quarterback has been dominant-wise statistically.
Because it's a different skill set.
Yeah, but at the same time, Michael Jordan was more dominant than any basketball player to a degree, because obviously he's not going to out-dominate Shaq in terms of physical ability.
Right.
But he has so many records and so many personal accolades that he really was just that much more dominant
That's
than
a loaded question.
I don't think it is, because I think I have the answer. I don't think that there's a disputable answer.
Ahead.
Wayne Gretzky.
Do you think are we talking about the most dominant athlete of all time?
Most dominant athlete in their respective sport compared to the other sports. So, yeah.
So are we breaking it down sport by sport then?
No. Of all time. Like, because I can tell you right now, Wayne Gretzky... So
you're just picking one sport then?
One player for all the sports. What player...
And that's basically saying he's the most dominant athlete of all time.
Most dominant. Yeah, that's why I want to make sure phrasing
You don't need
makes
to
a
say
difference.
in their respective sport.
I kind of do, because people have gotten on my ass about it before. So you have to make sure. I have to make sure that when I say Wayne Gretzky is the best athlete of all time, he's obviously not more
when
athletic
it comes
than,
to hockey.
No, when it comes to any sport, because here's the thing. You know how Jordan is the greatest of all time in basketball? He's got like 60 records or something like that. Wayne Gretzky has like 100 records. He also, if you look at the top scoring of all time, just regular season, you can throw in postseason too, which I have that stat too. But regular season, Wayne Gretzky has 2,800 points. A little bit more. I think it's closer to 2,900 points. You know who's second place on the list for regular season scoring?
Ovechkin.
Nope, not even close. Jaromir Jagr. You know how many points he has?
No.
1,900. Wayne Gretzky...
Ovi's close to beating a Gretzky record.
No, not even
close.
He is. No, for goals.
Yeah.
Not for points.
Oh.
Because for points, that's goals and assists. No, Wayne Gretzky, and he's not even really that close. Because Wayne Gretzky's is 900 something, Ovi's at 7 something. But Wayne Gretzky, he has 1,000 more regular season points, almost 1,000 more regular season points than any other player in NHL history. 1,000. Now, to put that in the context, you know who the fastest to reach 1,000 points ever was? Wayne Gretzky. Obviously. You know who the second fastest was?
Patrick Kane.
Wayne Gretzky. He did it twice. 2 times faster than everybody else. And you know what's even worse? Jaromir Jagr has, I think it's 2,100 points, including postseason. Wayne Gretzky, almost 3,200 points, including postseason. He was so down. Now, some people will try and say, oh, Gordie Howe was better because of WHA numbers. Technically, yes. Regular season Gordie Howe had better numbers.
So are you going based off of accolades then?
I'm going off of sheer dominance of statistics because obviously physical attributes are different. John Scott would kill Wayne Gretzky.
Okay, if we're going off of physicality and physical attributes, the most dominant athlete of all time is Bo Jackson.
He
without
played
a
so
doubt.
short. He played such a short time. I can't say yes.
But the thing
Just like
is,
he's
that's
not a Hall of Famer.
But the thing is, that's what made him so dominant was that how fucking dominant he was before that
course.
hip injury. If he never got that hip injury,
Of course,
He would've-
it's the biggest what if in sports, and
Right.
it's not even close.
but
But-
just how dominant he was in that short amount of time and what he did in two sports.
Oh, of course, he was impressive in both sports, like equally impressive.
You could argue that Dion is better though because he won a Super Bowl and a
you
World
know what I
Series
would
championship
argue?
in the same calendar
He
year.
also scored a touchdown in a
Home run in the
a
same
24-hour. Was it? I thought it was 24 hours, wasn't it?
The same month, 24-hour period, and he's the only athlete to ever score two types of different scoring in multiple sports in a 24-hour period. He's the only athlete ever to do that.
But to counter that, in terms of if you want to talk about physicality, I would say Shaq is the most dominant physically ever because he was as fast as everybody. He was stronger than everybody. He has one 3-pointer in his entire career, 1 for 22, and yet he won 2-3 scoring titles. 4. That's even exactly. You're telling me from shooting from 2 feet out, max, like his shooting percentage from 6 feet out is worse than Steph Curry's 3-point shooting percentage.
Yeah.
So, in terms of physical dominance, I would say Shaq.
It's one of those questions where it's like,
It's so loaded.
Yeah.
It's obviously.
I was like,
it's
that's a
brain
loaded
teaser.
question. You're like, no, it's not. I was like,
No,
yeah,
it
it's
is.
a fucking
It
loaded.
is.
It's a loaded answer.
It's loaded because it is impossible to
extent.
compare all 4 sports to each other because they're so different and every position is different in each sport.
Well, 4 major recognized sports that everyone thinks of. You also got,
You got soccer. You got who knows? We could
tennis,
have
golf, cricket. Yeah.
I'm saying
billiards,
but we're talking
bowling.
about major American sports because that's what we know.
Okay, so golf. The major American sports are football, baseball, hockey, UFC, and golf.
I wouldn't even put UFC up there.
I would put the UFC up there
when you have
now.
UFC
Within the last 5 years,
pay-per-views,
now. Yeah.
I understand pay-per-views are kind of hard to judge because obviously not everybody's going to want to pay, and then a lot of people go to bars to watch them. But the UFC pay-per-view, even if you were to make it free, wouldn't make it even close. Like a title fight wouldn't make it close to probably half of the major sporting events, even like average games. I don't think because UFC is such
That's because it's a pay-per-view. If it wasn't
I'm saying if it wasn't a pay-per-view, it wouldn't. I don't think it would.
That's incorrect because before, when it was like UFC 1 through 120, when it was just getting off the ground, the reason they started making them pay-per-views was because it's got so popular.
Sure, but that was also at a time when it was a bit more accepted. Now, I'm pretty sure. I mean, every sport's gone down in viewership except for the NFL, I think, and NHL. Like NBA and MLB certainly have gone down, but I'm pretty sure UFC's super low. MLS got even lower than rock bottom, which I didn't even know was possible. But like even international sports where they have international records, there's nothing that like UFC doesn't compare. Unfortunately, it doesn't.
It's
I
a
love
budding
UFC.
sport.
You could say the same for a lot of things, but it's like people used to say the MLS was a budding sport and it was going to be bigger than baseball and hockey, and yet here we are. MLS is practically bankrupt because no one watches the damn thing. UFC is a very niche sport, while all of the 4 major sports that everybody thinks of, pretty much anyone can sit down and watch and kind of figure out. You know, watching people beat the shit out of each other isn't what a lot of people want to do. Of course, a lot of guys will like it. That's a given.
Right.
But when you have practically the entire state of California not watching it, I know that's an exaggeration, but when you have so many people just like, I don't feel like watching 2 dudes beat the shit out of each other. I don't really think you can reasonably say it's one of the major sports. I would put golf and tennis above UFC in terms of that because they get probably 5 times as many views, even if the UFC was free to watch. And if you want to go so far as to say viewership, WWE needs to be up there. because that gets more views.
The viewership is down now because it's much better with the fans.
Of course it is. And yeah,
I watched it. It's so weird
and
watching
actually,
this.
you know what's even crazier? I can also to challenge that. I know that UFC. I love UFC. Don't think I'm trying to bring him down. But if you want to go off of sheer how many people watch it, more than almost any other sport besides the four, but bigger than golf, bigger than tennis, anything like that, NASCAR.
Yeah.
NASCAR is fucking massive, but no one cares about it. So that's why I don't think UFC is considered a major sport if NASCAR, tennis, golf, and fucking like every other sport that gets some sort of views can count, you know?
And this will be the last thing I say because this will be the first thing we talk about next week. Our NASCAR drivers, should NASCAR drivers should, oh my God, stroke. Should NASCAR drivers be considered athletes? Why or why not? Find out next week on on Floor Chapstick Podcast. Whatever. Fucking see you guys.
What are you talking about?